All right, welcome, boys. It is Michael's favorite time of the year. That's a lie. Draft was your favorite time of the year, and everything leading up to the draft. But this is a very, very close fifth. Um, Football, and I let me check right now. I'm pretty sure there's preseason football on right now.
There were two games tonight. Bengals, Detroit, and then Baltimore. That was the
Three
game I was actually
games.
watching. Three games. Wow.
Eagles beat the Bengals 34-27. Ravens beat the Colts
Eagles.
24-16, and the Seahawks are up on the Raiders 13-3 in the second quarter.
Okay.
So we're there, boys.
It's time.
We're there.
I said it at work tonight. I opened up my phone, ESPN, 7:30, Bengals, Philly. I was like, there's football on tonight. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
You know what? I'll tell you,
Like,
it makes your Thursday a little bit better.
oh, yeah.
Well, tis the season. Two things we want to try to get accomplished today. Terrell, me and you had talked about this was going to be our NFC episode, a conference neither of us really care about. So we added another person who doesn't really care about the NFC.
Let's
So
ride.
we're going to go team by team, kind of look at what these teams are going to look like, how much change they've had, and hopefully try to get these over and unders right. So let's do this. I have the playoffs up from last year. We're going to come back to this because we're going to get to build what our division looks like and what our playoff looks like. But this was a good refresher for me because I genuinely forgot that some of these teams made the runs that they did,
I
even though it
agree.
was just 6 months ago.
Runs and falls. Remember, Minnesota was like a one-loss team, two-loss team heading into week 16, and then lost and ended up without home field advantage in the playoffs.
I forgot Tampa was a 3 seed.
Dude, same.
So, yeah, you live there.
Yeah. I live here.
So let's do this. I have we'll let Michael decide here. What division you want to start with?
Feels like we should start with the East, where the Super Bowl winner and the two conference teams made to the conference championship. Feels like we should start there.
Let's go ahead and start with our Super Bowl winners. Um, Michael, what do you have on the Eagles?
We touched on it a bit when we did our post draft pod, where they picked 32. You're looking at the roster and you're going, God damn, this is a good roster. Like, you don't know what they need because they don't need anything. They got a hell of a good player in Jahad Campbell, who's definitely going to start linebacker year one when he was maybe a top 15 pick, got injured. No one wanted to take the risk. Of course, the Eagles get him. They
Of
really don't
course.
get worse anywhere on the entire team. There's no reason this team shouldn't be as good or better. You could say, you know, it's hard to repeat. It's hard to even be equally as successful in the regular season after winning a Super Bowl. It could be smoke and mirrors. The division definitely got better, but their over under for the next season is, let's see, 11 and a half. They went 14-3 last year. I can't imagine them dropping 3 additional games. So I'm going to say the Eagles are going to go over their 11 and a half. What do you say?
There's two things I have here. One is I'm going to fire one question back at you, which I kind of want to go through every team of who is your most, I don't want to say most valuable, but most important player on this team? Like who is it? Is it truly Jalen Hurts that this team swings with? Is it somebody else? Is it AJ Brown? Is it the defense? Like who is going to dictate how this team is going to perform next year?
Dude, I don't know. That's
So
tough.
it is not one player, it is five, and it's left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. It's their offensive line.
Okay.
Because without that offensive line, Saquon does not look as good. Saquon's an amazing player, but behind that offensive line, he looks like a superhero. Jalen Hurts, whether you think he is a Hall of Fame quarterback in the making or overrated because has a stacked team, he's not who he is without that offensive line. So if for whatever reason, injury, age, that offensive line does not match or at least get close to where they were last year, that could be the fault of the team. Yeah, you have two stud wide receivers, a really good tight end, probably the best or second best running back in the league, and a very, very good starting quarterback. But you win the Super Bowl because of that offensive line. And next year, I don't see a drop off coming. The offensive line is one of the hardest things to track just in general. And year over year, it's like, who knows how well an offensive line meshes. But this team is good. And I don't see any reason why they won't be just as good.
I'm going to go quick, and then Terrell, I'm going to pass it over to you. Mine's easy. Mine's center. You saw what that tush push looked like with Kelsey. I think trying to replace that, it's either going to – I don't think there's a way to keep that efficiency going. Obviously, the league tried to get it banned. It didn't happen. The Eagles are thinking, man, we can just run it back. If at any point their line, like to your point, isn't as successful with the one play that made them, unstoppable at certain points, I think that could change things quickly. Yes, of course. Saquon, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, defense is great. They had a great season last year. But I think if you're looking at a single position, I do think it's the offensive line. That's what I'm going with. Terrell, what you got?
I think a lot of what impressed me with this team, specifically in the Super Bowl, obviously their offensive line for sure. It's what enabled, like Weitzner said, Saquon to do his thing, Hurts to do his thing. But I think their defense was putting the hands on Mahomes and Kelsey and the crew. And I'm seeing training camp reports of it was the rookie last year, but he'll be a second-year defensive back this year, Mitchell. He's been designated as like their guy to cover AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, who starting DBs in the league already can't cover. So if he's going stride for stride with these guys, their offensive line got him there, but defense wins games. Defense wins championships. So if they got somebody that can cover the Jeffersons, the Puka Nacua, they'll be fine.
All right. Well, you said 11.5. I need
11 and a half, say over under.
What you going? I'm going over.
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 Good. Easy. Next team, NFC East. The Commanders.
Listen,
I'm going to go first on this one.
I was going to say, I'm a huge Jaden Daniels fan, so.
Oh, cool.
Huge.
I could talk about him for hours. But I have two things. I think one, there was hype around this team last year. There was this energy. There was this buzz. There was this, who are these guys? These young upstart, made a deep run. Yes, got blown out by the Eagles, but I would, you still commend them for a great run in the playoffs when nobody was expecting that. Unfortunately, when you win, teams expecting there are expectations placed on teams. So they aren't just the underdog. They aren't just the, hey, you're going to squeak into the playoffs. Now they're saying, hey, sure, the Eagles may win the division, but you are firmly going to be that top wild card or whatever the case may be. But that is now the expectation. The other thing you have to think about is happens all the time with second year, like the sophomore slump. Are people going to figure out Daniels? Does he add something to his game that allows him to still be super dynamic? I think those are a lot of questions. The scary Terry stuff, I don't love that because I thought he had a pretty connection with Daniels. But I'm high on them. Not high. I don't think they'll win the division. I don't think there's a shot in that. But I think they're a lock for a playoff team in the NFC and potentially upsetting one of the top 4 seeds again in the first round.
So the Commanders obviously surprised everyone last year. They had the second overall pick. It wasn't a mystery who their quarterback was going to be. It was more how successful he'll be in year one. This offseason, they traded for Laramie Tunsil, left tackle, hopefully giving Daniels a little more help in the trenches, maybe having a little more formal run game as opposed to just, break the pocket, go upfield for the quarterback. Here is my concern. One, the sophomore slump. Nick, you hit it. Second year quarterback. Everyone now has the book on you.
I was gonna say there's a name for it because it's a thing. Like
I should say the good teams now have the book on you. The bad teams will still be doing dumb stuff. Here's the thing that I was worried about even before Daniels got drafted. He is very skinny. He did not really get injured at all last year. He also, I don't know if you know this, in college just loved getting sticked like crazy.
I love watching
Facts.
If you recall,
Yeah.
in his last year in the game 1 against FSU, he got hit so hard that the refs called a penalty when it was a clean hit. That's how hard he got hit. It looked like a penalty.
It was bad. I had to stand up for a second. I was like, dude, he might be gone. Like for a couple games.
He withstood that hit, but that was an NFL player.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
This, to me, is entirely quarterback dependent health. If Jaden Daniels stays healthy, I'm not even going to say 17 games because that's a lot. Let's say 14, 15. They're going to win enough games to make the playoffs.
Okay.
They're over under. Last time I saw it, 9.5. It's juiced to the over. The sportsbook thinks this is a clear 10-win team, but they don't put a solid number anymore. They always do have, so they put it as 9.5. I'm with you, Nick. I think this is a playoff team. And to wrap this up a little quick, they added Deebo Samuel. Who knows what kind of long-lasting Commander's career Deebo Samuel will have. For 2025, I think he'll be impactful. I think whether he'll be the number 1 target, I doubt that with Scary Terry. If he's still on the team, I'm saying that sarcastically, he'll be on the team. They'll work it out. You have those 2 dynamic wide receivers, dynamic quarterback. It looks like an improved offensive line and a defensive-minded head coach. That's a formula for a playoff team. I have them as an over.
I'm going to go over as well with that, yeah.
I also have over for this team. Like Nick said, I'm high on this team. And going off what you said, Weitzner, I mean, they also drafted a tackle in the first round this year. So they're trying to bolster that offensive line, protect Jaden Daniels. I think he's established he can run. We know he can take hits. How many hits can you take in this league, though? I think if he trusts his offensive line, uses his tools a little more, his weapons on offense, gets it, settles into his passing game a little more. That way the running threat is secondary, and that's when it's most dangerous, in my opinion. You pass, you hand it off, you pass, and then your quarterback breaks it off for 20. Explosive, game changing. So I have these guys as an over. Easily playoffs, easily situation where they're in the conference championship again, in my opinion.
Okay. All right, let's roll on. Yeah.
This one's quick for me, by the way.
You go first. You go ahead.
No chance. No playoffs. It's their year in the preseason, and before that first, not even the kickoff, before the ref blows the whistle for the kickoff, it's over. No playoffs. Easy. Done. Next. I don't trust Dak. You got to note here. There's a lot of pressure on him. What have you got, man? How many years are we giving you this chance?
Ever since he got knocked out on Panama City Beach, I can't trust him.
So this was a really hard one from an over-under standpoint. And I'm not sure if you guys are like me, where I bet over-unders, especially now in the state of Florida with Hard Rock Sportsbook actually
Hey,
being
no free
allowed
ads.
to make
No free
bets
ads.
from the local sportsbook. The local sportsbook has them at 7.5. And I'm looking at it. Dak health question mark. Is he actually going to play a full season? Their running back situation is atrocious. Still,
Yeah.
2
Indeed.
years into this.
Indeed.
Their offensive line is no longer elite.
Yeah, they brought back Zeke last year. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, Zeke's on my fantasy team, and I hate it.
This year?
He's been on my fantasy, one of them, over the course
Dynasty.
of the last few years. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And I hate it.
Drafted him this year.
I can't trade him. How do you trade that guy?
Nobody wants him.
Leave the league. That's how.
Okay.
Their best player currently is not practicing with them in Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I'm going to bring that one up too. I'm with you.
And whether or not this is a Jerry Jones publicity stunt to get the Cowboys in the news longer, or whether he actually is hardballing Micah Parsons, your best player, we'll see. I have this as an over. Simply because I think they win 8 games. So 8 is more than 7.5, so that's technically an over. I'm not betting this. I'm staying away. I had to pick it because that's what we're doing here today. You don't make the playoffs with 8 wins, and I don't think they make it. But I do have them as over. Terrell, we heard you say no chance, no chance, no chance. You giving them an under?
I'm giving them an under. They went 7-10 last year, so you're saying they're going to improve? I don't know.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know.
I also have them guaranteed 2 wins from a certain team we're going to talk about very soon. So
I
That's
gotta go
fair.
Terrell on this one. I'm going under. Even if you pick up your 2 wins, you're telling me that you're gonna find 6 wins on their schedule.
They lose
the
to
Cowboys
Philly,
schedule
they
right
lose to Washington easy. They lose to, Minnesota might be down this year. I don't think they have the guts to beat Green Bay or Detroit. I think Baker Mayfield will hopefully have the same mentality as me and we're not losing to Dallas. I don't know the schedules. I'm just looking at the NFC
I got it right here.
So
I'll tell you the schedule right here. You ready?
Let's go.
We'll go through it. Let's go through it right now. Opening game, Sunday Night Football, Cowboys Eagles.
I didn't hear the team yet. Loss.
That's in Philly as well. Loss. Yeah, I think that's fair. Cowboys host the Giants week 2.
Dub. Hopefully.
Okay. All right, so Terrell, you're keeping track here. That's 1. Cowboys travel to the Bears.
it'd be a win.
That's week 3 Bears though. So if something's going to go wrong, it's probably around that time.
I think I got a dub there.
Okay, so 2-1. So they're feeling themselves right now.
Good start.
Packers at Cowboys.
2-2. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Cowboys at the Jets. 2-3. Thanks, boys. We're doing great.
I have a different result.
I do actually, I mean this with my heart. I do genuinely think that the Jets at home, 4th game of the season, will beat Dallas. Like I do genuinely feel like that.
All right, mark it.
The Jets have never
We're gonna
disappointed you before.
We're gonna revisit that.
They have
week
but
4.
If they will disappoint me, it won't be that game. We'll beat Dallas. We show up. Honestly, we show up against like your national. We beat the Eagles 2 years ago. Like for some reason, we show up against those teams. I don't know. We can't beat Miami, but we can beat Dallas. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. All right. So what we say 2-3. So then Cowboys at Carolina. 50-50 on that one. And we'll talk Carolina a bit, but I don't know. Okay, but we'll say 3-3. Cowboys host Washington.
Loss.
Okay. Cowboys
20.
at the Broncos.
Loss.
What are we at now?
Fine.
Was that 2-3 and 4? 3 and 5?
3 and 5.
What week are we on now?
We're playing 8 games. 3 and 5.
3 and 5.
Cardinals at the Cowboys.
On Monday night.
Dub.
That is a Monday night game.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
L. Dub cards.
Okay. So 3 and 6. Cowboys at the Raiders.
Dallas can win that.
I think so.
I think I can as well. Although that's Pete Carroll, Gino. I don't know. Fine. We'll go dub though. So what are you, 4 and 6?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cowboys host the Eagles.
Another L.
4 and 7. Cowboys host the Chiefs.
Another L.
Okay. Cowboys at the Lions.
Another L. Wow.
So 4 and 9. Cowboys host the Vikings.
Dub.
5 and 9. Cowboys host the Chargers.
Ooh, L.
5 and 10.
Is Justin Herbert healthy by then? It's the end of the season.
Let's just assume perfect world, backyard baseball, right? Like your guys aren't getting injured here.
So 5 and 10 on Christmas Day. Cowboys at Commanders.
L.
5 and 11, and then Cowboys at the Giants last game of the season.
Dub. So 6 and 11.
Boom, under, done. No
All right,
questions.
I'm gonna put each one of these as just a solo bet for each one of these games and see if I end
Were you
up
going through each one?
Yeah, like each week I'll be like, oh, okay, I remember Cowboys Giants. I'm picking the Cowboys this game. Boom. Green Bay. Like 2 Commanders L's. Like I'll go through and we'll see if I remember that.
Anything else you guys have on the Cowboys?
That was too much on the Cowboys, honestly.
So I felt like it. Onto the Giants, and I said, these talking points are way off, so we're not even going to go off of that. But I'm high on the Giants.
Really?
And I will tell you why after Michael tells me what their over-under is.
So their over-under is 5.5. And Nick, I have to ask if you are high on them like someone's high on meth, as in you're going to come crashing down by the end of the season and realize this was a horrible decision?
Week 3.
No. I'll fine. I'll go first. So I have a couple of reasons. I don't believe in the I don't know, I would say quarterback conundrum that they have, right? The Russell Wilson stuff. I don't think that I would be surprised if Russell Wilson played more than 5 games this year. Genuinely. I think they're going to look to get to Jackson Dart as quickly as they can. I think you, with Tracy Jr. in the backfield, adding Bo Scatterbo, like electric players, Neighbors, electric. Defense is still shaky to me, but the offense potentially has some guys. Like, what? Yes, the Giants, of course, have some stink on them. I get that. But would it surprise you if the players that I just listed have a season like Jaden Daniels did last year?
Yes, that would shock me.
I think maybe not make the playoffs, but I think getting to 6 wins is doable.
I'll tell you right now, I have already bet this under. This is a
Okay.
lock for me. I think the Giants are contending for the number one overall pick this year. They have what? Four quarterbacks if you count Tommy DeVito. And I don't think any of them have anything left in the tank anymore. And that includes rookie Jackson Dart, who I don't think is an NFL quarterback. So Malik Neighbors is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Draft him in fantasy. He's going to
Scatterbo.
get all of the targets. Scatabo, to me, is a awesome college player. Washes out of the league in 5 years, guy. Tracy is good.
Doing
I'll
like
give you
that.
that. They also simply do not have an offensive line. They've, I believe, they had at one point drafted in the first, second, and third round a guy in 5 straight drafts and did not hit on any of them. So I think Dable is getting fired this year, and I think this is a clear under. And I'm sorry we disagree, Nick.
That's fair. And I'm looking at the schedule now. I won't go game by game because clearly they have the same divisional rivals. But Chiefs, Chargers losses, Broncos, 49ers losses, uh, Lions, Packers losses. You could potentially sneak a win against the Raiders, the Saints, the Patriots. If they, dude, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna hinge it on this. I will say over, just for the spiciness of it. I'm gonna make one better bet for you. The Giants beat the Cowboys one game this season.
I would be
That's a lock
willing
for
to
me.
take that.
That's a lock for me.
I would be willing to take that.
I'm gonna stick with what I said. I'm gonna say over 5.5. But I think a better one is Giants beat the Cowboys one game.
I think either way, they just come out and surprise them game one, or they lose game one and then decide we're not losing to these guys twice.
Right, last game of the season in New York. That's not ready for a snowball. All right, dude. So I'm over. Taro, what do you have?
I got under for these guys.
Okay, I'll
They're
be the
the
lone.
ESPN's got them like second to last for chances of winning the conference championship. There's just literally no chance.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Michael?
Oh, I think we're good.
Moving on. On to the NFC North. The darlings of last year. Taro even brought it up before. Minnesota Vikings. Um, a lot has changed in Minnesota. New GM. Um, you move on from Kirk Cousins. Who's quarterbacking them this year?
Sam
I
Darnold
think
was their quarterback last year,
that's right. They
and
went with
now
Sammy D.
it's
JJ McCarthy.
allegedly JJ McCarthy.
That's right. Um, what's their over under, sir?
Their over under is 8.5.
I can see it. I don't I don't think it's gonna happen, but I can see it. I feel like they just blew it up after
It feels like it, right?
like they had to play the Lions, who ended up number one out of the regular season in the NFC in the last game and went from home field advantage to fifth and then just kind of dropped out. And I feel like they just blew it up after that
Mm-hmm.
and are like, all right, cool. That sucked. Maybe an off year and we'll come back.
Uh, I think the number 8.5 is coming from two things. One, new quarterback, and you're effectively going from a veteran who had the best year of his career in Sam Darnold to a guy who has never played a down in the NFL.
Correct.
That's one. It's a huge change. However, if you watch the Vikings last year, you'll know their success was not because of Sam Darnold. It was because of a extremely dynamic offense that was both a running threat and two awesome wide receivers and a simply elite defense. The defense did not change very much. You're still going to have an elite defense. The second thing that I think this number is reflecting is remembering the last thing you saw. The last thing you saw with the Vikings was them getting absolutely pants in the playoffs after losing the division in the last week of the season.
That's fair.
8.5 is way too low. I have them as an over. You don't go from 14 wins and lose 6 more the year after. They're not as good of a team. I think they go slightly over, probably a 9 or 10 win team, but that's an over.
Okay. Did some quick math for you. For the Vikings, of their 14 wins, 9 of them came by a single score. So for me, yes, as much as you're talking about the regression there, I actually think that it's more about the margin because a lot of those games could have gone either way. Look at their schedule for this year. I don't think that they beat the Packers twice like they did last year. I think there's a possibility that they don't beat the Bears in both games like they did last year. Now, what that means to me, okay, let's drop 2 games off of there. Some of these super tight wins, potentially flip 1 or 2 of those. Now all of a sudden you're down 4 games, so now you're down to 10 wins. The other thing for me, Jordan Addison is suspended for the first 3 games of the season because of DUI. Those first 3 games of the season are away at the Bears, home for the Falcons, and home for the Bengals. To me, that Bengals game's a loss. I think the Bengals are fantastic this year. That Falcons game should have been a win. That's going to make that a little more dicey. And that Bears game, man, Bears are going to be juiced. I think that is that a Monday night, September 8th? Where's my calendar at? Yeah, first Monday night football game of the season, Bears, with no Jordan Addison for the Vikings. So I hear you. I do think if it's over, it's going to be no more than 9. I don't know if I trust JJ McCarthy, and that might push it down for me. I think I'm going to go under. I don't feel great about it, but I think I am.
Like the logic. You flipping those single score games and dropping it down to 4. I think maybe they end up over. I will say this is my only NFC team that made the playoffs last year that I don't have making the playoffs this year.
That's fair. Yeah, I think this is probably the closest over under number we've had. Where if there was an 8.5, it would be exactly that. But maybe it's 8 wins and a tie. So you've got over. Both of you have over, yes?
I'm gonna go over, just because I think they, at the end of the day, you're picking up guys that fit your scheme. So if they can keep their scheme together, regardless of losing some veteranship, then they might be able to get 9, 10 wins out of the season.
Packers. Taro, you want to leave this one off?
I like the Packers.
Okay.
I do really like the Packers. I think they have a lot of talent. I think, sometimes some things don't go their way. I do think they make the playoffs this year. Michael, what's their over under this year?
Their over under is 9.5.
I think they're over. I think regardless of whether it's stats or how far they finish, let's see. They lost to the Eagles, tough draw, right? Like you got to play what would end up being the Super Bowl champs and you lose, you kind of have to feel a little good about that, like the faintest of silver linings on that cloud. I think they do a little bit better than they did last year. I think they're over.
I'll make it quick. I'm with you.
Playoffs.
Yeah, over.
Like,
So I also am an over. The only thing I want to kind of bring as a counterpoint is Jordan Love had the best year of his career and definitely appeared to have made a leap from one year to the next. There's a chance that Jordan Love's a flash in the pan quarterback and not a true franchise that developed quarterback.
That's fair.
It's simply a counterpoint. I have them over. I think they make the playoffs too. I think they're an improved team. But I don't really have much to add. Charlie kind of hit it.
I will say they also got some cake games on here. Giants, Steelers, Cardinals, Browns are 4 of the games they have. Panthers as well. I'm sorry.
And remember how the NFL scheduling works. So they finished third in their division,
At
which
third place.
means they have a third place schedule and they play all the other third place teams. That's an easy schedule.
Yeah, over for me. On to the Bears. The Bears. I cautiously optimistic here. Michael, what's the number?
Their number is 8.5.
Oh God, I did not want you to say that. I like the Bears. I think they're trying something. I don't know if Caleb Williams is the answer, but he was really hyped up. Uh, Unfortunately for me, this gives me Jets vibes. This gives me like we have a prospect, we want him to be the guy, and he just isn't turning into it, whether it's fast enough or with the system that they have. Obviously, you get a new coach this year. I think they're kind of just hinging on, oh yeah, it'll work now. I don't know if this is the. I think regardless, I don't think anybody will like lose their job for the Bears this year. But I don't think that they hit. You said it was 8.5.
8.5.
I'm under on that one.
they're in a really tough division. It's the only NFC division with 3 teams 10 plus. Like, so you're living in the shadow of Detroit, who's in the shadow of Minnesota, who's in the shadow. Oh, I'm sorry. In the shadow of Green Bay, who's in the shadow of Minnesota, who's in the shadow of Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think maybe they pick up a couple more wins this season just based off, hopefully team chemistry gets you an extra score or two at some point.
Team chemistry gets you 3 wins, maybe 4.
Yeah. And then you just got to pick up 3 or 4 other tough games. And I think a couple years in the league, Caleb Williams might be able to get you one of those. And then you have to remember one of those was a Hail Mary where you had 10 players on the field instead of 11 because the 11th was talking to the crowd. So maybe you win that one. I don't know. 8.5 is a little high for me. I think under, but I think still better than last season.
So this one really boils down to one question. Do you think Ben Johnson is that guy as a head coach? Because if the answer is yes, this is actually a clear over, and you should be betting them to make the playoffs. Because a new coach that is the guy usually means 3 to 4 more wins than the previous year. But if you think Ben Johnson is just a play designer and not a head coach, because that is different. You can be an awesome offensive coordinator and not be a head coach. We've seen a bunch of defensive guys. Robert Saleh, Nick, you just survived it. Awesome defensive coordinator, bad head coach. I have them as an under simply because 9 wins feels impossible in that division for the Bears.
Terrell, you were under as well? That's right.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
it's funny. I'm looking at the only thing that I think it boils down to Vikings Bears. Who wins that game?
I think one of the Vikings or the Bears are going to fall off the face of the earth
Yeah, that's fair.
just
I
because
say I think the Vikings are better set up, and that's why I go with them.
there's more infrastructure at the Vikings at this
Yes.
point.
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly what the Vikings are good at. Elite defense, pressure. They're going to get to the quarterback. What are the Bears good at?
Hyping up Caleb Williams.
I mean, it's kind of crazy they won 7 games last year in this division.
That's true. Well,
So
let's round out the North. Tell me this is 10.5.
Nick, you're getting good at this. 10.5 for the Lions.
Um,
I
I'll
think.
go first.
Go ahead. Yeah.
You lose both coordinators. No, I'm going over. I don't know. They got the sauce right now. I don't know if that means that they're going to be able to crack the NFC Championship game, but they're cooking. And similar to like when Mahomes was on that run, I'm not betting against them until they show me that they can't do it. So I'm going over.
For me, this is an over for a similar principle for the Vikings. It's really hard to get 5 losses worse year over year. This it would be a crazy year over year decrease in it's not talent, it's simply coaching. I mean, you lose your defensive coordinator to the Jets, you lose your entire offensive scheme. And the reason I'm concerned more than I usually would is because, there's different kinds of head coaches. There's offensive guys, defensive guys, and then there are guys like Dan Campbell who are CEO types. Dan Campbell is not an offensive genius. Dan Campbell is not a defensive coordinator type. He is simply a head coach who runs the team efficiently, gets his guys ready to go. I have to believe the Lions infrastructure is strong enough to hold 2 new coordinators. And
That's fair.
Dan Campbell has shown that he is good at hiring coordinators. His 2 coordinators, the 2 that just got hired, those were his first picks. Awesome picks. You have to assume that even if maybe he didn't hire 2 head coaches this time, assuming that doesn't mean they can't be good at their jobs. That doesn't mean they can't have success. And imagine the Bears or the Lions going 10-7 after going 15-2. It just doesn't seem plausible when you have a returning quarterback, returning wide receivers, returning offensive line, returning running backs, and oh, by the way, Aiden Hutchinson, your best defensive player, is going to be available this year.
Just thinking
So
that too. Yeah.
it's an over. And Nick, I bet this already. It's a lock for me.
I also think even four wins worse, you're still a top team in your division. So
Still a top team in your division, contending for the division, making the playoffs. And guess what? If you get 4 losses worse, it's still an over.
I'm in agreement here. It's an easy over for me. 15-2 is tough to repeat, especially with all the changes going on. But like Dan Campbell's a guy that has only made this team better every single year. And you have to imagine he looked at this offseason at 15-2 and not winning the Super Bowl and thought, how can I make that better? And so, yeah, you lose your offensive coordinator, your defensive guy, but he brought in 2 new awesome picks. And he's got the recipe brewing. He's got the talent. He's got the weapons.
agreed.
They just need to repeat and then find a way to get over that hump in the playoffs. and I think they got it. So easy over for me.
The West. I would say of the four divisions, I would say this is South is a disaster zone, but I would say this one pretty cut and dry for me. Seahawks key acquisitions. You obviously lose Geno, but you get Sam Darnold. Um, I'm going off of what I got in here, so I'm gonna say what 8.5.
8.5 is the number.
My only concern, which we'll get to them in a minute, my only concern is if the 49ers bounce back. That's it for me. Because if they do, then this naturally goes down. Because you can't, there's too much saturation of these good teams. So, with that in mind, I am going to bet on the 49ers getting better. So, I'm going to say under for the Seahawks.
Real? Anything to add?
I also have the 49ers bounce back. Now remember, this is me, healthy, backyard baseball. Like, you've got the fatigue turned off. I'm a CMC fan, and I've been seeing the moves that 49ers have been making. So I think this number does go down for the Seahawks, especially after losing one of your weapons in DK.
It's true. Good point.
So 8.5. Again, if it could be 8 wins and a tie, I think they'd be right there. But
yeah.
I think I would shoot for under on this team.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is not a close number. I think this is actually a bad number. I've already bet it. This is a clear under. I think the Seahawks are contending for the first overall pick this year.
Oof.
You get your quarterback you've had success with the past few years. You send him out of town. You sign a quarterback who has had one good year on a loaded team with
True.
great wide receivers, and you give him a big contract. You immediately trade away his best weapon, and you have an unproven head coach who's a defensive guy. That sounds like a disaster to me in a hard division against coaches that are clearly better. I think they'd be lucky to get 5 wins. And
We're in Giants territory right now.
honestly, them and the Giants might be duking it out for the first overall pick. And of course, the Giants are going to mess it up and somehow get the fourth like they always do.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to beat the Cowboys there in that last game.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Giants 6 wins. That's what I'm calling it. All right. Well, since we kind of prefaced them with already, I will lead off. I'll just say, clearly last year was down. I don't want to let my personal feelings into it of drafting CMC first overall, losing my league. I don't really want to talk about that too much. But then also having Jordan Mason, then thinking he was going to win me again, that didn't work out. So, but again, it's not about me. I think the thing is though, they're due for a bounce back. Even if CMC doesn't return to a top 3 running back per se, let's say, even if he's top half, right, top 15, top 10, this team immediately improves. Purdy goes back to having a good year, even if he's not elite. This team improves. I think all of those things, plus we just talked about the Seahawks being bad, immediately pushes San Francisco back into playoff territory. The issue is I see a big number there. What do we got for over under?
Their over under is 10.5.
Dude, ESPN has them at 3rd for chances to win the conference championship.
Over. I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go over. I'm okay with that.
I
I
am
don't feel
of
good. I don't feel good about that, but I'm gonna go over.
I am of such two minds about this team. because one, you're in a really good division. You're probably the second best team in the division, but you still have to play the Seahawks, you still have to play the Cardinals, you still have to play the Rams. Their schedule is rather easy, though. Here's who they play out of division: Saints, Jaguars, Bucks, Falcons, Texans, Giants, Panthers, Browns, Titans, Colts,
No,
and Bears.
that's up for me.
Before, I had written down under just because 11 wins from a 6-win team when
It's a
you
lot of wins.
Big
you didn't
jump.
really add anyone specifically in the
No, it's
offseason.
more just health, right? It's more just
Yeah.
their guys come back.
I think this is a 10 or 11 win team. I honestly can't decide. I'm not betting this number. If I had to pick it, I would say under just because that's what my gut's telling me, but it's like 10. 10 and 7 is the under. Not like some great value here.
Yeah, if I was just open up the Hard Rock one night and had to look at it, I would probably pick the under. A little bit closer to the Super Bowl, you get to see more of the health issues maybe pop up or not pop up. You know, these guys are looking good. I do have them sneaking into the playoffs and replacing Minnesota for me. So this is that team that Minnesota's the only team out. This is the team I have in, but I have them wild card. So I think they can do it. They have the talent to do it. It's just, let's see it. You had a rough year. Let's see that bounce back.
On to your top team, the Rams.
So that
Is
I
this
just need to
how recent is this number? Is what I want to know. Is this from today?
yeah, I pulled these about 15 minutes before we started.
Okay.
So these are numbers and I checked not only the over under but the division. Tell me how this makes sense. 49ers over under is 10 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams over under 9.5. So obviously 10 and a half more than 9.5. This sports book that will go unnamed that I pulled these numbers from have the Rams as favored for the division, but have them winning less games in the regular season.
Yeah, math. Duh.
I don't get it. There's value there. I can't figure it out. Actually, I did.
Isn't there a way
Clear
you can like beat your division guys, but then lose your out of division games? And
in the NFL,
no,
whoever has the most wins,
No,
all right,
most wins.
and
If it's a
it's not like
tiebreak.
it's not like they had the same over under, and then you're thinking about tiebreakers. This is a game over. I have the Rams as a lock for this over. You don't bring Matthew Stafford back and sign Devontae Adams to not go for it. They also have a young, really good defense led by two former FSU guys, so I gotta love that. I think 11 or 12 wins is in the cards here, so a 10 or 9.5 over under is a clear over.
Let me not to dissuade you. Let me hit you with this. It's 2 days ago. Matthew Stafford, week to week, or day to day. I'm sorry. No, he's week to week with back pain with a aggravated disc in his back, and reportedly received an epidural to help him deal with the injury. Not in a rush to hurry him back, but they plan on him still being there for the season opener. Here's my issue.
I'm
I've heard
quickly
this story.
Googling how old he is.
37. I've heard this story before, and his name is Aaron Rodgers. And if you have a quarterback that is old and is not as mobile, it does not matter how talented your team is around him, because if he can't move, their game becomes limited. And one bad injury or a hit or something, like if you lose Stafford, that team is done.
I
So
will
that's
agree with you there. If you lose Matthew Stafford, the season's over.
yes.
But I'll raise you this. I am a 30-year-old who exercises regularly, and I am also week to week with back pains. So
Touche. But you do not have the
Fair.
hopes of the
Fair.
city of Los Angeles on your shoulders.
I, that is true. I will say the biggest difference between Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers, just to continue the comparison, Aaron Rodgers was clearly afraid to get hit last year.
Sure.
And we're not talking AFC and the Steelers, but bad signing. I think they were desperate. Matthew Stafford,
Don't give it away. We'll talk about it next week.
well, Matthew Stafford was not afraid to get hit. He was willing to stay in the pocket and get hit, and that is the difference. It may lead to him getting injured, but he's not going to be a diminished quarterback like Aaron Rodgers is.
Until he gets injured. Yeah, I got you.
Okay, but even if he does get injured, what are the chances we see his final form and he just comes back like he did with that dislocated shoulder,
He just
on the
doesn't need it
lines?
back. Yeah.
You popped my disc back into place. Joke's on you. We're about to win this
I'm at
Super Bowl.
100% now.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like in Avatar: The Last Airbender when Aang gets hit with the rock and unlocks the Avatar state.
The perfect angle, the perfect hit, the perfect force will just unlock your ultimate potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Done.
All right. Well, you've convinced me. I'll go over.
I think I got these guys over too. I think they improve. I think they win this division easy. So
Okay. Let's get on to the Cardinals. What's the number here, Michael?
The number here is 8.5. How do you feel about that?
I'm under. I'm under, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because if I'm just going, and again, I'm not a mathematician, but if we're gonna go over on the Rams and on the Niners, which I'm okay with, that means that I'm seeing at least 10, 11 wins from these two teams. We said Seahawks are probably going to be some bottom feeders, so I can see the Cardinals picking up a couple wins here and there. Let's see what their schedule looks like. I know we had talked about some of their games. Not the St. Louis Cardinals.
Don't they know that football starts in 3 weeks, and obviously you'd be talking about football, not
yeah,
the
you don't want to
not
dive into baseball a little bit?
Let's see. If I'm counting wins here, I probably see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I count 7. You said 8.5. 7's less than 8.5. I'm going under.
I love the math. It was very quick. Can you run through those calculations for me?
Sure. I got week 1. They're traveling to New Orleans. That's an easy win for me. I think the Saints are going to be poor. Week 2, they host the Panthers. That's a win. Week 5, they host the Titans. I think that's a win. Next week they go to the Colts. I think that's a win. We said I think the Cowboys beat them. Jaguars is a toss up for me, and then the Falcons, which I think the Falcons are going to be bad as well. So
I think you got they lose to San Fran, Green Bay easy, Tennessee's a toss up, San Fran again, Tampa Bay, LA. I think they lose to Houston, they lose to Cincinnati, and they lose to LA again.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
5,
going
maybe
under.
6.
I honestly, to your point, I think this is one of those locks of. I think their number is way too high.
Spoiler alert, it is a lock. I've already bet it. It's an under.
I knew it.
Figure, let's ride.
I think this might be the year. Well, arguably last year was the year it bottomed out, but this year might really be the year where it bottomed out. And don't forget, Cardinals did not have their pick this year because they traded it to no, excuse me.
They picked up Walter Nolan, a DT, in 16th pick, round 1.
So they did not have their pick. They had someone else's pick. Walter Nolan may be a good player in the future,
It's not a
but
game changer.
he's not a game changer,
No.
especially not this year. Where in order for simply for a team with 5 wins, for it to really make a jump, you need to have impact players injected into the team. Players, plural, more than one.
Like the
Unless
Giants.
that one,
Totally agree. Yes.
unless that one is a elite quarterback. Daniels, for example, for the Commanders. I almost said commies, and
Oh, he's
Can we? I don't think you're allowed to call him that.
who said?
I,
Is there a
you know
law
what? That's
against
fair.
it?
That's fair. That's fair. I've never seen any written rule.
we gotta move on. We gotta move on.
Also, would you rather call them the commies or the Manders?
Manders. Easy. Um let's get into maybe the worst division in football. NFC South. I didn't mean to save them for last, but that's fine with me. Carolina.
Do they get
I
better?
don't have a. Do I what?
Do they get better? I don't.
Are you asking if they did get better or if like theoretically they could ever get better as the Carolina Panthers?
I think in theory they could get better eventually. I just don't think this is that year. I think it's hard to get worse, but I think they might be able to do it.
What's her number?
Their number is 6.5.
That's just low enough that I don't feel super confident. Um, but I don't like them, so I'm going under. I wouldn't feel good saying that they're going to go 7-10.
So this is a really simple one for me. It's a question that if you believe yes or no, tells you whether you're an over or an under. Do you think Bryce Young is good?
Do you
Period.
think that Bryce Young can see over his lineman?
The answer to that is no. We know that. Mina Kimes almost ended that man's career pre-draft by wearing heels. Okay. So
I did forget about that. That was good.
if you think Bryce Young, who, as a reminder, got benched last year, if you think he is good and is
Andy Dalton.
in the year of our Lord 2024,
Darn near 2025. Close enough.
so there were 2 Bryce Youngs last year, the one who got benched and then the one who showed some promise at the end of the year. If you think he's actually the one who got benched, this is a clear under, and they're contending with the Seahawks and the Giants for the number 1 overall pick. If you think he still being the number 1 overall pick, being benched, being on a bad team who really doesn't have that many weapons, if you think he still can develop and improve, 7 is not out of the question. They're in a bad division, and they're probably not even the worst team in that division. We'll talk about another team in a second. I have them as an under. I'm not a Bryce Young believer, so I'll throw that to you guys.
Bro, you got to buck the trend?
I think I have them as an under 2, and like you said, we'll get into these other teams here in a second, but they have New Orleans twice and Atlanta twice. And how bad do we think those teams are? Because if they're...
We're going to get to them in a second.
Yeah, we are. I think you could secure the Panthers for a win against each, and then you coin flip the second game.
Sure.
So maybe
3.
they pull 3. Maybe we'll give it that 2.5 right out of that. And then they have, hold on, the Browns game 1. I think if they lose that game versus the Browns, they're under.
So burn the franchise down.
They're under. Yeah, if they lose that game versus the Browns, they're under. If they can win that game versus the Browns, they stand a chance at beating their division rivals. Maybe not rivals, but their division competition. Hopefully you beat one of them twice, and then maybe you're looking at an over situation, but you got to win a couple tough games. So I think for
What's
now,
your
I'm going to say under.
Fair enough.
Pending the Browns game.
Your home team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
Go
playoff team last year.
go Bucks, man. Go Baker Mayfield.
Not just a playoff team, hosted a playoff game
Yes.
with an 8-9 record.
Legend.
Michael, what's our number here?
Their over under is 9.5.
Here's what I have to say. I think they take both from the Saints. I think they probably take both from Carolina, or either. I think they're going to win 5 division games. Is my point. I think they go 5-1 in the division. Let's see what the rest of their schedule looks like. Because if there's already 5 wins there, I need to pick out 5 more. They play the Jets at home. That's a win for them. Seahawks. That's a win. What do we have to?
Peep those last 5 games.
I do think they beat the Patriots. That's 8. Let's say they beat the. I think they'll beat the Cardinals. That puts them at 9. Yeah, I could see them going on a little run there at the end. I think 10 wins is doable.
New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, Miami, and then Carolina again. I think that's a 5-win streak going into the playoffs.
I'm gonna and I think that they're good enough that they'll put something together. I really like Baker. I don't think he's gonna let this team go from. I'm gonna say a disappointment in the playoffs. Right, you get upset by the Commanders, who of course had a great run.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he has the kind of personality or that leadership style to let it be anything less than that. So
I believe that came down to a last drive interception, right?
If memory serves, I do think you're right.
I think that's how I remember it. He doesn't throw an interception that pass in that same situation this year. Baker's got grit.
Yes.
He's got some serious grit, and then I think they added Egbuka Weitzner. Help me out.
Emeka Ibuka.
There we go.
From
Yeah,
Ohio State.
they added him, who I've seen reports saying that he's fitting into that slot position, or he's slotting in to the slot position very well. And so I've got high hopes for this team. I think 9.5 is doable. I think it's an over this year.
Okay.
I got them as an over too.
Well, that makes it easy. Do you want anything to add, or you want us to move on?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. This
Under.
You know what the number is. Atlanta might be one of the most confusing teams in the NFC.
It doesn't matter what the number is.
I don't know what to expect. Michael, what's the number?
Falcons are 7.5.
Fine, that's easy. I think Terrell's good. I'm good. Michael, what you got?
I think it's an over, and I think they may be a playoff team.
Next. I'm not betting that.
Why is it an over?
All right, fine.
I need some. No, I'm not letting you slide off on that one. I need some answers here.
One, Kirk Cousins is no longer the starter, which is like a miracle and a half. Kirk Cousins was so done last year. He got that big contract. Great for him. I'd love to. My goal in life is to be overpaid one day. So,
Okay.
Michael Penix. Let's see if he is that good of a quarterback. There are so many elite weapons on this offense. This could be a really special offense if the quarterback actually clicks into place. And that is simply where I'm at. This could be a case where you have 2 10-win teams in that division who both make the playoffs because they're feeding on the 2 other teams in the division.
Okay, but You did see Penix's stats from last year, right?
I did.
Of the 5 games he played in, he went 1-4, with the only win coming against the Giants at home.
Yes, that is correct. I'm aware of this. And it
More receptions and touchdowns, or I'm sorry, 3-3. My bad. Apologies.
listen, Peyton Manning had more interceptions than touchdowns in his rookie year.
Just that very interesting comparison you got there. I get you're right.
I'm saying it could be one of those teams where new quarterback, full year as a starter, elite weapons. There's something there. There could be something there.
I can agree with elite weapons. I think the buck stops there for me. I also, speaking of, I do think that prediction wise, here's my lock. I think that Atlanta does so poorly first half of the season. I think that they're a seller with the trade deadline. I think we see somebody like a Drake London or maybe not a Bijan or a Kyle Pitts or somebody like that is getting moved to a contender because I think that they're not going to get off to a great start. That's my guess. Look to recoup some first or second round picks, trade one of your big pieces, and move on. Because if you're in the worst division in football and you can't win like that many games, I don't blow it up. Honestly, this is the worst team in football this year, besides maybe the Browns. What's the win
I would
total
say
at?
the Browns would like a word.
Yeah.
What's the win total at?
Over under is shockingly 6.5.
Lock.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's say if it's over under. 1, 2, 3. Under.
Big time. Big time. Rookie quarterback and Shuck. And if it's not him, it's Spencer Rattler. And if it's not him, it's Taysom Hill. And I don't think any 3 of those quarterbacks are going to be winning 6.5 games. So that's an under for
Let
me.
I'm just gonna do a quick chat about Tyler Shugg and why the Seahawks, the Saints will be drafting a quarterback in the first round next year. One, Shugg is old. I think he was a 6th-year quarterback, so he's 24. Last year for the Louisville Cardinals was his first year playing every single game in his 6-year college career. And even with that, he did not put up crazy stats.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why he was a second round pick. Quarterbacks always get overdrafted, but like, come on. I have eyes. Someone in that building must.
Tough.
Yeah, and I don't know who the good players on this team are. Simply, it's
It's a head case, man. And I don't mean
I'm
Olave's concussions.
I'm not claiming that they don't have good players. Olave, you know,
Kamara.
Alvin Kamara is still on this team for what feels like the 400th year. But
They're toast.
can you name another one?
They're toast. And
And
that's
like,
okay. That's okay. They're toast, but they are.
yeah, under. They may clear this under by 3 games.
Easy. All right. Well, that does it for the teams. So here's what we're gonna do. I want to go playoffs now. Terrell, we'll start with you. Who are your top 4 division winners?
Okay, I got Philly, Detroit, Tampa Bay, and the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay, Michael, what about you?
I almost put the Falcons as the South winner, but I have the same division winners as Terrell: Eagles, Bucks, Rams, Lions.
Only one I'll change is I'm gonna put Niners over the Rams. That's the only one I'll change. But I'm happy with the other three. Who are your wildcard teams? What is it? It's three wildcard teams, right? Yeah. Who are your three wildcards?
Shit. All right, I got I got San Francisco. Somebody's gonna make me jump on the Atlanta train here.
No.
Saints still on the board for a playoff spot. Just
Dude, I just checked. I checked Hard Rock
Bing,
tonight.
bing, bing,
If I
bing,
put
bing,
$1
bing,
on the
bing.
Saints being the runner up for the conference, I get $250.
It's a great deal. That's also a lost dollar, though.
It's a lost dollar that back in the day I used to say I could spend on a McChicken, but you can't do that anymore. So, all right, I got who did I say? San Francisco,
Yep. Two more.
Green Bay.
Okay. One more. You're missing an easy one.
Easy.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Commies.
Commies. Oh no, I have them. Did I not list them? Oh, okay, no, okay, that's fair. All right, no, you're right. Yeah, commies.
All right. Don't say it that many times. My God.
Commies.
Michael, what you got?
so I also have the commies. I also have the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take a leap of faith and say that the Falcons somehow are going to have tiebreakers over the
What are we
over
doing?
the 49ers.
What are we doing? You have the tiebreaker. You have the Falcons over the 49ers.
Yeah, I do.
In 2020 in this season.
Nick, I could have swore you were going to say in football. Like
In this the sport, this one, like the NFL.
I I have seen the Falcons almost win that division for like 6 years straight, and they did it with trash quarterbacks. If Michael Penix is the real deal, I think they'll just be better. They play in a bad division. They play bad teams. They don't have a first place schedule. They they're going to have enough opportunities to win games where they could get to 10. Remember, there's 17 games now.
They steal one off the Bucks, and what they should go 2-0 versus New Orleans and Carolina, like that's 5 right there.
That's a
You
great
know,
5-12 season for them. Can't do it.
Listen, in when we do our post season pod, months and months from now, I will wear a Michael Penix jersey if they make the playoffs.
No,
I
don't
will
sleep on
spend
Bob.
book it.
American dollars
Book it. He said
on
it.
his jersey.
He said it.
No. I have some follow through with this one. Yeah, I got Packers Commanders, and then, like I said, I'll just flip because I got the Rams coming in as the wild card. Uh, I'm not even. I don't even know what to say. No chance. No chance Atlanta does that. Genuinely would surprise me. But we've built our playoffs, so let's go through it. Um, who's your one seed? Are we all agreeing it's the Eagles?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so Eagles don't play a wild card game. So let's go. Is it? Yeah, it's just 2-6-3-5 or 4-5. No, 2-7-3-6-4-5. Who are your? What's your conference championship game, Terrell?
Um, I'm gonna say Philly Bucks.
I'm gonna say
Don't say it.
no.
Say it.
If here's my real pick. I think Lions Packers make it.
Ooh.
It's really hard to repeat. It's really hard to get the conference championship 2 times in a row.
Okay.
I don't think the Bucks have the juice. As much as we've all loved my Falcons pick this year, I don't think they're going to make it to the
Okay.
conference championship. So really, we're debating whether the Eagles or Commanders lose before the conference championship. If they both do, I think the Lions and the Packers are the clear pick to make it.
Torn here. But I got a couple of good options that I'm happy with. Um, I will say this, of the 7 teams that I have listed, I think all 7 of them have a chance to make it to the conference championship game. And I think that kind of parity is exciting because it's like, yes, we know who the good teams are, but I think anybody could make that hot run. To your point, Terrell, if Baker Mayfield doesn't throw that interception, potentially the Bucks go on a run and end up in the NFC Championship game. With that being said, I do think the Eagles. I think they're the best team in the conference. I think that's fine, barring some freak game or injury or something. Uh, but I've got the Lions against them. I've got the Lions. To your point, Dan Campbell finally cracks it. Let's figure it out. Uh, and I'll go first with this. I've got Lions over Eagles. I've got Lions in the bowl, and I think I'm putting more faith in the Lions being a spurned team that was always an almost team. That yes, you lose your coordinators, but I think, like we've talked about with other teams, there's so much of an infrastructure around Detroit right now that they're going to be okay. And with being okay means that they were a 15-win team last year. And I think that is getting like swept under the rug a little bit when we talk about their accolades. They, for all intents and purposes, were the best team in football for the majority of the regular season. Nobody would have been surprised if they had walked into the conference championship last year, and I think that they're finally going to make it happen this year. That's what I got.
I mean, I think they were the best team in football the entire regular season, especially closing out that win against Minnesota there at the end. Like, that was the team that was even record with them up until week 16. And
Mm-hmm.
then they proved that they were, at least in that game, significantly better. I don't think that's out of the question. The Detroit Lions to make it to the bowl. It is very hard to repeat. Like, you're talking, you have to take, winning the Super Bowl is not necessarily the perfect season, but you had the best season out of everyone else. So in a sense, it kind of is. You have to do that again. Like, no mistakes. Every
No
team's going to
injury.
be putting their best strat against you. Like, you might
Mm-hmm.
even catch, some
The
guys watching
Falcons.
film Friday night for a game that's 2 weeks from now because it's up against, you know what I'm saying? Like, so little things like that. It's psychological too, just as much as it is a physical game. Um, I have hopes for Tampa to do better than they did last year. Um, I do see there being a chance to Detroit winning it. I think Philly's got a good recipe going though,
Fair.
so they might end up in the bowl this year. Whether they win it all, I don't know, but I think they can edge out the NFC.
That'll be next week's prediction. Michael, Lions, Packers.
So, in dramatic fashion, WWE fashion, the Falcons are actually going to. No,
Michael Penix.
is that
Is
Michael
that
Pax's music?
With the
he's got
steel
William giant
chair.
belt with him coming out?
Yeah.
um, I think there's a good chance the Packers would be able to get over on the Lions if it came to a conference championship. Because if you go down the line, quarterback, Packers. Running back, Packers. Or even Josh Jacobs versus Jahmyr Gibbs, two totally different styles. Yeah. Offensive line, probably Detroit. Wide receivers, Detroit. I need to see what this defense looks like for both teams. In for Detroit, new coordinator. Packers I need to see what it looks like in year 2. I always fall back on quarterback, and it's even more of a bigger discussion about kind of why. Nick, you mentioned it. There's a lot of parity in the NFC, and even though we have a lot of teams that are the same as last year, think about the quarterbacks for those teams. We have Jalen Hurts, who is a very good quarterback, possibly elite, possibly a product of his own team, but either way, great for that system.
System quarterback. That's all he is.
You have Baker Mayfield, who is a very good starter, but I don't think anyone's putting him in the top 5, probably not even top 10. You had a rookie last year in Daniels who, sophomore slump could hit him. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff on the best team in the best record from last year. And Jared Goff, again, not a top 10 quarterback. Very good for the system. There aren't a lot of simply elite quarterbacks. It's something we're going to talk about next week, but the best quarterbacks are in the AFC.
Yeah, agreed.
So when it really comes down to nut crunch time in the playoffs, I think the better quarterback will prevail. Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback in every single game he played in the playoffs last year, except for the Super Bowl. But that was simply a team win. And
True.
he may have been better that day, but he's not a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes.
I could have been a quarterback that day and we would have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So when you're in the playoffs, quarterbacks really matter. And I think that's why if the Lions and the Packers went in the conference championship, I would pick the Packers.
Okay. Well, here's what I'll say. We've got 3 different conference championships out of the NFC, but mostly the same playoff teams, barring the Falcons. But nonetheless, an interesting conference. I do think my final thoughts for this would be, we'll talk more about the AFC next week, of course. I think there's a case to be made that the NFC is a weaker conference, weaker quarterbacks, but there could be a Super Bowl winner out of the NFC. I think that's fair to say. I don't think it's a runaway with the AFC, but I do think that we'll get some interesting games. There's going to be some drama out of this one because there is so much parity. These teams are close enough together that it is going to be maybe just a quarterback difference or which line is healthier or who's the key guy that went down injured. And I think that's fun. I think it's good, right? I mean, we can talk about the Lions and then they get shellacked when Terrell and I watched the Hall of Fame game against the Chargers. So, yeah, you said it best, man. Football's back. So it's around the corner. Final thoughts from you guys? Anything else?
Thank God football's back.
Oh, yeah.
We have 3 weeks until quote unquote real football starts?
Nah, is it? It's 15 days. I think. Less maybe cuz the 23rd is a Saturday for college football. So,
week 0 for college football.
Yeah, I think Florida State plays on like Friday night or something. I think we play Saturday.
What's opening game? No, opening game's in September.
So NFL starts September 4th, I believe.
Yeah, Thursday, September 4th. Yeah.
College football, we're counting week 0, I believe starts when Terrell said it.
Yeah, 23rd, August 23rd, 12 p.m. Iowa State at Kansas State in Dublin.
We're getting there. We're getting there, boys. We'll be back next week. We will be doing the AFC as we kind of talked about, and we'll take our 2 conference championships. We'll go over the Super Bowl. We will be getting Super Bowl score predictions as well Get the scoregamis ready
All right. Hell yeah.
because we're gonna be prepped for it, is all I'm saying, so that we can look back on this in 6 months' time
And laugh.
and laugh about one of us getting it absolute Falcons getting it absolutely wrong. But this was fun. We'll do this again next week.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right. Good talking, boys.
See you.
Later.